you go. So yeah, we've got some unusual ships here. So I was right. So the Shacks are in, and Paladins are in. It's like
And
I'm a
Paladins,
psychic.
yeah.
So flight deck, we've got 2 Leshaks, Balgorn, Pontifex, 2 Sentinels. Ooh, that's a lot of tracking disruption. 2 Deacons, Griffin, and a Nereus, which is a T1 industrial ship. Do you think that's like one of those kind of passive shield recharge, really hard to break?
It's an industrial sino, and they're going to bring in reinforcements.
Rorqual's going to pop onto grid.
Probably they might actually just have cap boosters and cap transfers on it. Like that's the only thing I could think of.
I was about to say that, but he's not. The Nearest is not on top of the Leshaks, which is where I would expect the cap transfers to be. It does look like the match has just started. On the other side, we've got 3 triple Paladin, Hugin, Pontifex, double Jackdaw, double Deacon, Hound. So yeah, this is going to be battleships at dawn, and the match is underway.
This tracking disruption from the Sentinels is going to be awful for these Paladins.
It is, but one of the Sentinels is not moving. He's being shot straight into armor. He's pretty low already. And one of the bombers they tried to snipe one of the bombers with the Leshaks, which is just he's gone.
Yeah, he's actually dead. Yeah.
They just alphaed him through his armor. I guess reps don't really matter sometimes.
Yeah, I don't know if he was moving or not, but he was not moving fast enough. Like, if you're going to try and get away from battleships, you need to go fast. You need to go off to the side and not directly backwards. But yeah, one of the Jackdaws is getting shot now. It looks like he's gone. Wow.
They're just brawling in with their Leshaks. Like, they're just pushing through and killing everything. I mean, they're not even... the Sentinel tracking disruptors on the Paladins is, like, kind of destroying their massive DPS and ability to just snipe things right now, but the Leshaks and Balgorns are actually just kind of shoving in right now, which is pretty funny.
Okay, they're shooting for Hugi. I mean, none of the ships from blue teams are dying, so we don't really know what they're doing.
It's really interesting to see a Hugin in this sort of a comp, because the Paladins do have good tracking, and one of their main advantages is they can apply without that.
They do have good tracking, but this...
Sentinels.
Well, yeah. And one of the Paladins is going straight up, which is not going to help his tracking. I think going his transversal is going to be rough, excuse me. And there is another Paladin there going straight up as well. So they're trying to get away as their kind of support is being decimated in the middle. I kind of feel like their positioning, they should be moving a lot more, but...
Look at the difference in the control bars between Flight Deck and Feeding Machine,
Oh, wow. So yeah, Flight Deck looking really strong here. Did you... Remind me, Feeding Machine was the Esports Potopia team, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I believe so.
They just look like they're struggling to apply any damage to Flight Deck at the moment. There's no 0 armor damage at the moment, and there's damage being taken on multiple ships. So it looks like they just haven't got a focus, and it's probably those tracking disruptors on the Paladins just completely ruining their day.
Yeah,
they're
I think so.
They've got to be jammed. Like, the Paladins aren't even shooting. I'm like staring at 2 of them, and I finally saw some lasers go off from one of them. So I think we might be seeing a hero Griffin just ruining their day.
It's worse for the Paladins still, because they can't even get into Bastion mode to get the resistance against the TD.
I was going to say, usually with these armor control setups, putting that many points, like 73 points into three ships, is a kind of normally that would be considered like a high risk strategy. But I think the support that they've chosen with those double Sentinels has really, really worked out for them.
Yeah, it's like 5 points each.
Yeah. Because normally you see people try and get curses in their pilgrims, and they cost more points, which means you can only have 2 battleships, or you have to have T1, even more T1 ships. But I think having the double Sentinels has actually allowed them to have that 3rd battleship, which means they've just absolutely slammed through their support.
And I'm sure, as anyone who's ever gone into a small plex in faction warfare knows, Sentinels are absolutely devastating in 1v1 fights. They can pick off support so easily if they get on top of you.
Yeah, it's a really strong ship, actually. I mean, it's a frigate ship, so it's really hard to actually track them. And also, even though they have less newt power, but they still have the same power of tracking disruptor. So yeah.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
kind of
5 points are worth.
yeah, and
I
like a
also
grip.
want to
Sorry, go on.
sorry. I also want to point out that you guys are missing the most powerful asset that flight deck have,
The
which
Griffin.
is Nereus,
Oh
which
no,
appears
okay.
to be tracking, remote tracking, boosting the Leshak.
Oh, okay.
So that's the reason they can shoot that far. Okay.
Yeah, he's got remote tracking computers on both of the Leshaks on his team. So this is a support Nereus.
I see it. I
Actually
see it.
boosting their battleships.
I'm zoomed in now. We can see those.
Amazing.
So
That's smart.
yeah, so those are the shacks are going to be. That's why they hit those the Hound like straight off the grid, and the Jackdaws just got deleted because of that support, probably.
Something to note about this team that Flight Deck ran is it is not actually one you can fly on for the AT on the points. So I'm just putting it out there. Yeah, the so Deacons and Griffins are about 2 more points each for AT-17.
Okay.
So if you tried to copy this, it'd be over by 6 points, which means it gets a little bit funky. One of the things that it's so difficult to field 3 battleships with the rule set for AT-17. I think that, in fact, there's even a comment on the thread for this specific tournament's rule sets that they reduce some of the points to make it less difficult to fly different comps. So this is kind of one of those cases where it's like, oh, wow, this looks really cool. I love this idea. It's like, yeah, well, you're going to have trouble flying it because you can't. You bring crucifiers instead, which would maybe work, but